Hi, it's Sari from Coaching Healthy Minds. I am popping on just now because I was asked a question today, and I was asked by somebody if I could do a quick video or a post on the page about a particular situation. So I thought I'll do it, and then everybody else can benefit from it. So we'll be keeping, in fact, I don't actually know the person, so I could definitely be keeping them anonymous. It's through somebody else that's asked me a question. So, okay, in a nutshell, the situation from how I remember it, and I'll just kind of keep it general, is that this person has two children who are both of the age where it's okay for them to be left a little while at home. And so that's been done a couple of times. I think it was just literally the second time that they were left alone. I think the daughter is a couple of years younger than the son. Again, both at an age that's absolutely fine to be left alone. But the second time, what happened is the daughter heard a loud noise in the house and she shouted for her brother. And he must have had his headsets on. So if anyone that's got teenage boys or younger boys will know that they quite often are in their rooms with their headsets on the computer or whatever, and they wouldn't hear. So because then her brother didn't respond, she then panicked. Because she was worried about this noise in the house. Anyway, it was all fine. There was nobody in the house. It was just a noise. And obviously her brother was there, but he just had the headphones on. So all's well, ends well. No issues, no problems. However, since then, the girl has struggled at night time to sleep. She's worrying, she's overthinking it, getting scared, wanting to go into her parents' bedrooms, all that type of stuff. Now, part of the reason why I've done this on the main page is because even though I'm talking about a child, overthinking works in exactly the same way for children and for adults. But I think what we can do sometimes is, I wouldn't say pussyfoot around our children, but we can sometimes think that we need to deal with them in a very different way because they're only children, etc., etc. When actually their thinking mechanisms work in the exact same way as ours. So I wanted to do this on here because I can just reiterate the whole thing about overthinking. So this girl is then getting up in the night and going into a parent's room. Now the reason she's doing because she's feeling scared and overwhelmed, and it probably feels really horrible because what it's likely that she's doing is she's lying in bed and she's thinking about what happened and how she was at that time. So all of this anxious thinking is then creating the overwhelming feeling as a result. So that's where the issue is. It's with her thinking. Now, with children, of course, we want to be empathic. We want to let them know that they're safe, etc., etc. However, in a way, we can tell them that as much as possible. It's important that we do that as well. But you'll know yourself as an adult that when your brain goes into overdrive with thinking, people can till you're blue in the face that things are okay. But it doesn't feel like that because your thinking is creating an anxious feeling or a scared feeling or a sad feeling or an angry feeling or whatever it is. And we know that this child is safe. We know that the thing that she feels on a physiological level and the scare is real. And actually nothing even happened. She just thought that it could have. And it's that thinking. Hi, Dal. It's that thinking that is then creating that feeling. So what I would do in that situation with a child or an adult is I would explain to them how our thinking works. A lot of adults don't even understand is that it's the anxious thinking that creates the feeling. So she probably just thinks that the feeling's coming with not very much thought involved. She then feels horrible. She has a reason to be scared, of which she doesn't. She's created that through her thought. So one of the examples that I've done on a video before and that I used with my own daughter, who's sat here to the side now, is around, one way of explaining it is, which a coach of mine told me this example. I think she got it from somebody else, I can't remember who, sorry, but is a bit of a metaphor about thinking and overthinking. So if you think about it like taxis, okay, so you're going down the road and there's taxi after taxi after taxi, there's loads and loads and loads of taxis. And each one of those represents a thought, because the thing about thinking is it's all transient. We can't control our thinking. We're going to think nasty things, we're going to think nice things, we're going to think exciting things, scary things, horrible things. We're going to think lots of things. That's the nature of humans. So these taxis are thoughts. So there's going to be loads of taxis. Whether we like it or not, we're human, we're alive, we've got a brain, there's loads of taxis. So I explained to my daughter that taxis came along and they were all thoughts. So one taxi might have what if somebody got in the house on it? Or what if somebody broke in? What if somebody took me away from my parents? What if, what if, what if? And you can ask her what her thoughts are, so you can explain it to her using her examples. And just explaining that the taxis are going to come and they're going to hover a little bit on the road. You know, see if you're ready to engage with them, see if you're ready to get in that taxi, then it's going to carry on going. It's going to pass. And what's happening when we're anxious thinking or we're worried about something is that we kind of like, we jump in the taxi for the ride and we go, oh, this is a familiar taxi. I should be scared at night because what if there's an intruder in the house? And then you jump in the taxi and go along for the ride. So what you're doing then is you're holding on to that thought and it stays. And the stronger, the more the thoughts come and the quicker they come, the bigger and more overwhelming the feeling is. So she's probably really genuinely, when she's coming into bed to you at night, she's probably really genuinely feeling horrible because those thoughts can really create some horrible feelings. So, and also what's important to explain to her that only when we let that taxi go are we free to jump in another one. Because the next taxi that comes along, what am I going to do with my friends next week? Or where am I going on holiday? Or it's nearly summer holidays. Or it might be something that she likes and enjoys. So again, ask her, what kind of taxis would you like? What kind of thoughts do you enjoy or do you like or make you feel good? Because it might be that that's the next taxi that pops along because we don't know because there's just so many of them. But if she's off on a taxi ride somewhere else in that taxi that's all about what if there's an intruder in the house, she's not going to be available for the nice taxi that's going to come along because she's already gone. So that's just kind of one example or metaphor that you can use. But ultimately, you know, again, one of the things that I keep going on about now is these 3 principles that I use, and this is what it's all about, our relationship with mind, thought and consciousness. Now, a big part of that is the thinking, and that's what I do in the anxiety course. It doesn't matter whether someone's anxious, stressed, worried, sad, angry. These principles are all valid in the same way. They'll all do the job and do the trick that you need. So I hope that helps and gives you kind of some idea of where I would go, because we can also get very caught up in wanting to tell them a million times that they're safe and they're okay, and well, let's make sure that door's shut and we can double check the front door and we can but again, the nature of thought is that if we then start to add meat to the bones to this story that she's telling herself in her head and we're trying to fix it, we're just kind of reaffirming to her that there's a problem in the first place, but there isn't. She's just holding on to thoughts that are quite negative and that she doesn't like. And while she's holding on to them, there's no space for the nice taxi to come along and for her to get in and go for a much nicer ride in her mind. So I hope that helps the person ask the question, and I will speak to you all very soon. Take care. Bye.